Good morning. Welcome to my channel. I'm going to do a continuation of my last video on the solar eclipse and black sun. But this is a standalone video as well. In other words, you don't have to look at that video, but it might be good to check it out anyway. So there's a lot of stuff coming up about the solar eclipse in regards to propaganda. I've been hearing a lot of rumors, a lot of stories. I've been seeing things online about this coming event being used as a propaganda tool. You can't look at it any other way. If you go back into the history of solar eclipse, or the cyclical nature of the solar eclipse, and then you also have the black sun aspect, which is oftentimes misinterpreted or is false, is incorrect. So let's just start with this event that's coming up tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow on the 8th. There's a lot of propaganda being put out there about this whole event. And by propaganda, I mean people talking about emergency situations, states declaring emergencies, state of emergencies, hospitals supposedly getting prepared for something. There's flights all over the place, like in New York City, of like 70 helicopters taking off, and activations of the National Guard, and all kinds of stuff is popping up that is almost incredulous. It's like, what are they up to? So let me jump into the black sun aspect real quick and the history of that. And then I'll come back to this propaganda aspect. But the black sun is thought by many to be of Nazi origin. Okay, and I mentioned in my last video not to give too much credence to some of the stuff you hear as far as the dark side, all right? But since these situations are arising with the propaganda over the solar eclipse, I'm seeing a correlation between what could be termed an occult black sun, in other words, one that is used in a nefarious way, to complete whatever agenda the dark powers have surrounding this natural cyclical event. Now, the black sun, like I say, is attributed and thought of in darker groups like Nazi origins. Truth be known, the Nazi origins didn't even call it the black sun, but they used a symbol of that nature, and then it evolved into today. If we look at it, it's involved in like the Azov battalion, the neo-Nazis or the new Nazis that are in Ukraine, and they have adopted that symbol as one of theirs, all right? So that's just a small part of the black sun mythology. The black sun mythology goes way back to Mayan civilization, Aztec civilizations. That's one aspect of it, which has more to do with cycles and changes, like I talked about in my last video. Also, there's another aspect of the black sun that has to do with inner alchemy. I'll get back to the solar eclipse here. Has to do with inner alchemy, and that inner alchemy is a kind of a purification process before enlightenment. In other words, lead turned to gold, that type thing, on a actual chemical level, and then on an alchemical level, it's a transition, let's say, from the dark night of the soul to a more broader realization of enlightenment, that type of thing. So you got the concept of the black sun in all kinds of mythology that has nothing to do with darkness, has nothing to do with Nazis, has nothing to do with any of that stuff, Illuminati, whatever. Now let's jump back to the current upcoming solar eclipse and the propaganda that is surrounding it. Now, like I said earlier, there's all kinds of things popping up about it. So you have to wonder, why is this happening? Why are they taking a solar eclipse event, a natural event, an event of cycles and changes and transition and things of that nature, dark to light, light to dark, all that stuff. Why are they taking that event and creating a lot of hype, is what you want to ask yourself. This is a very important video. It's a heads up. So we got some aspects here that we have to consider. One of them is everybody's going to be looking up to the sky, all right? And as they look up to the sky, which most people go around life day to day, they don't really look up at the sky that much, all right? This could be used as a perfect opportunity for what I call a false flag, or making something appear to be different than it is. And I've talked a long time about different things that the technology can do now, like flashing images in the sky, or making projections in the sky, pictures in the sky. And then there's the other aspect of actually seeing something in the sky as you're looking up or at this event. But you have to ask yourself sincerely and, with the lucid mind, what is going on with trying to make this some kind of a state of emergency, all right, by certain states, or people preparing for this and preparing for that. What is the agenda here? What is it what is the distraction, the deflection, or let's say the use of a natural occurrence have to do with anything? Now, yes, we are in a period of transition. I already talked about that in my last video. We are in a period of transition. And that is just a reflection of what the earth is going through at this particular time, in my opinion. However, the powers to be, the dark ones, will use something like this, and they'll actually maybe even resurrect, a Nazi type mentality. A Nazi type of mentality, co-opting something that is been in history for quite some time. Like, for example, the Nazis co-opted the swastika, although they may have inverted it, from a symbol of migration in the Native American community. They take things and co-opt them, and so what many people think that this country right now is almost fascistic and overwhelming and tyrannical and Nazi-like. So on that observance, all right, you can bet, that if that is the case, they're going to use this symbol for some type of nefarious means or an agenda of some sort. What is that agenda? Well, when you declare states of emergency, you can immediately, the word fear pops up, trying to create some type of fear in the populace. Why would they want to create fear in the populace over something in the sky? And I've talked many times about things like let's say fake alien invasions, for example. When everybody's looking up at the sky, here they've already declared a state of emergency in certain states. Is it just to make people on edge, or do they actually have an agenda, or is there some kind of hidden agenda? Or let's say, is there something that they want to hide? That has got to be the question. So if you take the first question is like, what is their agenda here? All right. You might want to include something like a fake alien invasion, or something in the sky that shakes mankind up, that puts them in abject fear. For what? For more control. For more control over the populace. Now these two thoughts came into my mind when I was thinking about my previous video, and I always like to follow up if I get new thoughts. Two thoughts came into my mind, kind of like downloads from the universe, which I get periodically. One, it's either a false flag, or two, they are trying to hide something from us, all right? It's something that is trying to be hidden from us, all right? What is it that they know that we don't? That's the supreme question here. What do they know that we don't? Could they have information, let's say, about some kind of incoming asteroid, or let's say, I don't particularly think that they can predict sunbursts and X-class flares and stuff like that. But is there some kind of cosmological or planetary event that they want us to not know about? Is there something that we may see in the heavens? But on that note, you have to consider amateur astronomers that are pretty much technologically advanced in their skills, and are able to spot even planets and comets and things that NASA doesn't even spot, or at least NASA or the people that, the space people, we'll call them, haven't even caught wind of. So what I would think, okay, that an amateur astronomer somewhere, like in Australia or something, would have picked up on something of this nature. However, you have to ask yourself this question. Supposedly they're going to fire rockets at the same time. Here's another unusual occurrence. They're going to fire rockets at the same time that the solar eclipse is happening. Why would they do that? Some type of scientific endeavor, they claim. But there really is no logical explanation for it, not really. So are these rockets that they're going to fire up there, is that going to distract or deflect or cause your attention to go to that? Or let's say if you see some kind of phenomena in the sky at that time, is that going to be an excuse that they could just say, well, that was just our rockets up there? Let's say supposedly a bunch of people sight things that they want hidden from us in regards to our environment, or asteroids, or even UFOs, or any kind of phenomena. Are they deflecting from, let's say, if you did see a real sight, they could say it's just our rockets? You have to consider all these possibilities, all right? You have to consider all of them. Nothing is ruled out with propaganda. Nothing is ruled out with smoke and mirrors. So the question remains out there, what the heck are they doing as far as hyping this thing up? Basically what it is, it's a hype. And anytime they hype something, the mainstream media, and anytime a lot of stuff starts coming out all over the place about emergencies and National Guards and helicopters flying around and whatever, it is done to create fear of like, man, what are they up to? Are they expecting some type of incoming Earth catastrophe, asteroid, solar flare, all kinds of things of that nature? Is that what they're doing? Or is it basically going to be a false flag, all right? Now, when you have a false flag, again, like I said earlier in the video, you create a situation where you make something look like something that it is not, all right? So, on that speculation, what you have to do is say, well, what is it that they're going to create? Are they going to create a fleet of advanced aircraft coming in, which the technology already exists for that? I've talked about that in previous videos. Are they going to create some kind of scenario or some kind of sight in the sky? Are they going to pull some kind of fast one? If they're doing this, if this is something that, and what, I mean, you got to look at this. I mean, what else? When you hear this kind of stuff, you have to scratch your head and say, wait, I mean, this is a solar eclipse here. This is not the end of the world. This is not, but are they going to make it some type of end time event or some type of scenario where they throw mankind into some kind of abject terror, just like they've done in previous false flags? Okay, it's been used day in and day out for decades to control people, and to control people usually through fear, and then after that they give them some kind of answer to the fear or some kind of remedy to the fear, like putting in complete trust in, let's say, a government or a world government or whatever, that type thing. So you have to look at these things and go, well, what is it exactly that they're trying to do? Now, you probably are never going to know exactly what they're trying to do until that event either comes and goes, a passage of time. But if nothing else at all were to happen, as far as something in the sky or something of that nature, if nothing else were to happen, if it was just to go on, and Tuesday and Wednesday were like, wow, that was the solar eclipse and nothing happened, then you have to look at the concept of, well, whatever it was that they tried to drum up as far as states of emergency and that type of thing, maybe it was just for that purpose alone, just an incident to cause a temporary fear and to keep mankind on the edge of his seat about everything that happens in the universe. And this dovetails right into the apocalyptic mindset, which I've talked about before. And I'm going to be doing more videos on that as well. You should follow up here, subscribe, and hit the bell notification, thumbs up, and all that shit. Just because you might miss something else that I have coming out in the future about other events or let's say takes on what's going on here in this chaotic age we live in. So yes, when I said in my last video I wouldn't give the occult, or let's say the dark side or the negative side I wouldn't give it too much attention. That's exactly why I'm doing this video, not to give it more attention, but to explain to you why as to not give it too much attention, so that it won't have an effect on you that maybe they want to have on you. And that is, again, the instilling of fear in mankind. So I expect tomorrow, Monday the 8th, we will know the answers to some of these questions. But I also ask that you look at my last video on just my take on, from a spiritual level, or a shamanistic level, or a medicine man level, as to what this indicates in relation to like older mythology and older prophecies as far as transitions. I might also mention too, as far as the black sun goes, is that there's a lot of mythology that talks about two suns. And the two suns are the regular sun, and the other sun is called the black sun. And this black sun came to be known as Saturn. Or another sun that you can't see in the light spectrum that we humans can see, that shines just as much at night as it does in the day. This is also an ancient mythological, or let's say mythology can sometimes be real, so we'll say narrative, from the past that also indicates what this might be all about here. And that's what I lean towards. I lean towards, and that's what Spirit is telling me, that I lean towards it's a transition, okay? It's a transition from like light to dark and dark to light. Yang to yin and yin to yang, part of the duality here that we live in. And it is also a reflection of the things that are happening on the earth. It's like looking in a mirror and seeing the transitory effects of what's going on here on the earth, as far as wars and butchery and cruelty and malevolence and just all out shenanigans all the way around by whoever thinks they're controlling this realm or planet or government or whatever. You can extrapolate that out to the nth degree. So I wanted to just do a short video on this and touch on those things and add those things to my last video, which again I would hope you would watch. And I'll be doing further videos on things like how the powers to be again are using propaganda through religion and through end times and through the use of biblical narrative, that type thing, and how that it has a very, very strong effect on world events that we're living in at this time. I'll do that, and I also plan on doing an upcoming video on who was Jesus Christ, or what is Jesus Christ, and the historical background or evidence, and also what the teachings really were, and Christ consciousness and that type of thing. So hang in there, stick with me, subscribe, and if you will, if you do like these videos, you can either go to Patreon, or I prefer spiritofcrazyhorse.com. It's in the show notes below, for a donation of any amount. And with a donation, I send a free copy of my book, Listen to the Wind Speak from the Heart. So I'll leave it there today. Don't like making these videos too long because of the process of uploading and attention span and all that stuff. So I'll leave it there, and I'll say peace unto you. Until next time, this is Roger Thunder.